in the first quarter of the year, following marginal growth in the last quarter of 2023. Data from Statistics South Africa shows the GDP declined by 0.1% in the first quarter. Manufacturing, mining and construction were the biggest drags on growth. Meanwhile, agriculture rose by 13.5% thanks to increased economic activity in that sector. Well, let's unpack those numbers now with Cosatu spokesperson Zanele Sabela. Zanele, it's great to talk to you. Thanks for coming on. Perhaps not entirely surprising, but still disappointing with this decline in GDP.
It is really, really disappointing, Michelle, given that, in the last couple of years, GDP growth has been marginal at best, but then we were still hoping that it would continue on an upward trajectory. So this is really disappointing. And you've just mentioned now the fuel price cuts. That will provide some relief, but it will be minimal at best.
Massive impact on consumers. We'll get to that in a moment, but massive pressure on the workforce as well. With jobs at risk if we don't try and ignite our economy?
It is particularly worrying, especially for mining, given that, you've heard about planned retrenchments in the sector. And so this, and for that particular sector to be the one that has gone down so much, it's very worrying. And, it hasn't been great. I mean, the economy hasn't been great, but now this is really, really a blow.
Yeah, mining, construction, manufacturing as well, the automotive sector, the largest negative contributor, pulled down by weaker demand for newer vehicles. Are your members, I imagine, impacted particularly by this sector?
By the automotive sector?
Yes.
Indeed. You also note that it's not just the in terms of the new vehicle sales, but it's also parts. And so, we have, as one of our affiliates, an affiliate in transport. So all of that. And it generally does that. It means that the fact that there's no one buying new cars just says that people are under pressure. Consumers are under pressure. So, yeah, everything points to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Consumers under massive pressure. Household consumption is down. Clothing and footwear is down by 7%. We might joke about it, Zanele, but it shows the kind of pressure that consumers are under. We don't have the money for those kinds of extra expenses.
No, we don't. And, that also says that the textile sector is under pressure. And there are those good programs that government has, put on the table, like the textile master plan, where we are, there is attempts to revive the textile sector, and that there's a master plan on the table, and that involves the revival of the buy local campaign. But if you really can't afford. If you think that we are at a point where buying clothes and shoes is actually a luxury, then we are really in trouble.
What's Cosatu telling its members about how much they should brace themselves for, given the kind of growth that is expected for this year?
Sure. Okay, so that is, you can't keep saying to people that they must tighten up their belt. So we are hoping that, with these negotiations that are currently happening for a coalition government, that should be concluded as soon as possible, so that the election of President Cyril Ramaphosa can be concluded as soon as possible, and the 7th administration is appointed, so they can actually start to talk about putting a massive stimulus package on the table, so as to jumpstart the economy, because this is where we are right now. The economy does need to be jumpstarted at this point.
Zanele Sabela is Cosatu's spokesperson. Thanks very much indeed for joining us this afternoon.